Hello, folks. How are you doing? So for this little sub-lesson, we're going to go over the idea of connotation. We've reviewed this a couple of times this year, but I think it's always important to go back and think about these ideas again. Remember that when we talk about connotation, this is sort of in opposition to the idea of denotation. Denotation would be anytime we are discussing the definition of a word. Many words have a similar or the same definition. Those are things that we would call synonyms. Connotation, on the other hand, deals with the idea of connections. And if you even look in the word, it looks a little bit like connect or connections. So these a lot of times deal with emotions, those sort of feelings that we associate with different words. We've talked about this before in class. We connected it with one example over and over and over again. And that would be if somebody asked you to leave a room, to exit a room, or to evacuate the room. And when we think about these words, we have different feelings or emotions that kind of link up with those ideas. So if somebody asks you to leave the room, that might feel neutral to you. We can exemplify that with a little dot. If you're asked to exit the room, that's probably starting to feel a little bit more negative. And if you're asked to evacuate the room, that definitely is going to have a negative connotation with it. We can also think of connotation as being sort of like a spectrum. That we can feel different levels of positivity or negativity. So if we think about this one, we kind of move from less intense to more, or the most intense. If somebody asks you to leave the room, it's maybe a little weird, a little annoying perhaps. If you're asked to exit, that probably starts to feel a little scary. It's a little intense. If somebody asks you to evacuate the room, that's going to feel very intense. So we can think of it in terms of like a spectrum as well. Another example here of some words. We could say that somebody is lazy, sleepy, or maybe we call them low energy. Here, you're probably thinking that the one with the most intense connotation here is our word lazy, and that's definitely a negative connotation there. Sleepy probably feels a little bit, I would say, neutral. Low energy, that one in my mind also comes out as negative, just because, it's not good if you're low energy. It seems like there's a problem there. Please keep in mind that things that have a neutral connotation, those are just words that we don't really associate at all with emotions. These would be things like the word desk, chair, sky. They're not really negative, positive. They're just kind of there. So as a quick review here, when we have different words, we will oftentimes label them as either negative. We can exemplify that with a little minus sign. Neutral, which we can do a little dot, or positive, which we can represent with a plus sign. As you guys go through and complete this activity, please let me know if you have any questions at all.